Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you see behind me is a simple gold farm. And I will show you how to make this and explain how it works. But let's just see how effective it is in real time by collecting all of the drops right here and getting rid of them. Obviously, this won't be a perfect test because we're not going to be standing in the correct spot, but we'll get a good idea about how fast this works. So, just to give you a scale of size, what you're looking at are circles with a diameter of 35, and there is a glass roof on top, and then 5 of those spawning floors, as well as a place for the mobs to land and die from fall damage, and a hole in the center. And I will show you the materials you need to build this, and that's in this chest. This is what you need for the glass roof, and then obviously the floors are the same size. This is per floor. You can make as many floors as you would like, and then for each floor you will also need turtle eggs. I have 4 here. You can get away with 1. You'll need a slab, and you will need 28 trapdoors. These can be any kind of trapdoors. And the way this works is by using certain spawning mechanics and aggro mechanics of the zombie pigmen. Now, we are right now above the roof of the nether. There's a hole down there, so if you don't know how to break bedrock and how to get above the nether, there will be a link in the description that will show you how to do that, and you need to come up here to get really efficient gold farms. Now, these are sort of modular in that you can make them in a whole bunch of different configurations, but you do have to follow a number of principles, and that has to do with spacing and distance. Now up here is our AFK box. You don't need a box if you prefer not to have one. If you trust that there are no random spaces a ghast might spawn, or nobody in your world has left a space. I do particularly like this view. I think this could be a kind of a nice screensaver. But if you've done this correctly, the only spawning spaces available are the ones down there. And you need to make sure that from wherever your AFK spot is, you drop down at least 24 blocks to allow for the mobs to spawn. And then you want to have a roof here to prevent certain mobs from spawning. I'll get to that in a second. You have 2 air blocks in between each floor, which is then a solid floor. And then from your bottom floor, you need to make sure that they drop at least 24 blocks to make sure that they do die from fall damage. Now, the reason that this is set up this way is to make sure that only zombie pigmen spawn. So the glass roof here prevents ghasts from spawning, and it also prevents endermen from spawning. Now, something about the 1.14 update has changed it so that magma cubes do not spawn in these too high gaps. They used to spawn, and there is a way to deal with them if you're watching this in an updated version and that spawning comes back, and that's by using iron golems. They are attracted to iron golems within 16 blocks, so you make a bottom slab here so that nothing spawns on it to knock the iron golem out, and then you just create an iron golem as such. And you do need to do that for the different floors, and you do need to do that also on the different sides to pull the magma cubes out. And the reason that you want to do that is because you want to make sure that the entire hostile mob cap is available specifically for the zombie pigmen. And you can see that by pressing the F3 screen. You can look at the entity count, and that is over here. You can have up to 70 hostile mobs spawn at one time in your world before they will, loaded at one time in your world before they will stop spawning. Now, you don't need to make it a circle. I made it a circle because I think it looks a little bit nicer, and there is some efficiencies into shorter running distances for these zombie pigmen, and even if that means a little bit of more fall time. But again, just for some numbers, zombie pigmen are attracted to turtle eggs, and they are attracted within 23 blocks. So the way that you make this farm is, once you have your floors, you do need to have a cutout here, and this is a 5x5 cutout. You have the eggs that are on each floor level, and then you can see you actually destroy the slab that you put them on in order to make the zombies think they can stomp on them. It's a little bit strange, but the zombie pigmen need at least 2 air blocks above them to think that they can step on the eggs. And then the trapdoors convince them that there is some space where they can run over, and obviously there is not, and they fall down here. Now this floor down here is a 7x7, and I found that you don't need to glass or wall in the drop chute so long as you keep this as the 7x7, and these are bottom half slabs to allow for hoppers to be placed underneath. And you can see if we drop to the bottom, there are no items down here, and I can turn the hitboxes on just so you can see the 7x7 is sufficient. Now do be aware, the quantity of items that we're dealing with is significant. If you built your farm smaller, you may not have this issue, but if you copy it this size, there are, from my very limited testing, somewhere between 13 and 14,000 drops per hour. Hoppers can only handle 9,000 items per hour. So when you're building your storage system or your filtering system, do be sure to keep in mind that you'll need at least 2 separate filters if you're running a hopper filter, which is what you really have to do here in the Nether. I also do highly recommend that you set up a filtering system as opposed to a storage system, because you end up with just about 50-50 gold to rotten flesh drops. And rotten flesh in general is pretty useless. It's even more useless in the 1.14 update when the trading mechanics for the villagers changed. So you have a lot of useless items that you should just get rid of. And now that this has been running for a bit, again less than optimal, we can see exactly how many items we ended up with. And as you can see, this farm is rather fast and efficient, even if you don't build it quite as large, and you don't build it in a circle, because in survival it's probably a lot easier to just build squares as long as you maintain those proper distances. If you've found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like, and for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.